Welcome to the official podcast of Joey's Song. You know, at Joey's Song, we have one mission: raise as much money as we can so that research into finding treatments and cures for epilepsy can get the funding it needs. We would love your support. If you can subscribe and leave a review of this podcast, it will help more than you could ever know. If you have a couple extra mouse clicks left in you, go to YouTube and our YouTube channel, Joey's Song, and subscribe. There. In less than 2 minutes, with a couple of mouse clicks, you will have made it easier for others to find us and help spread the word. Now, if you want to do a bit more, head over to joeysong.org, consider buying a show ticket or some merch, or even making a donation. Thanks. You know, we'll beat this disease, and together we'll have some fun doing it as well. Join us. All right, let's do this.
Scoreboards and Setlists. My guy Mike from Joey's Song. Mike, good morning, brother. How we doing?
Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. I love every day, Mike. Every day, but Friday just a little special because we get to hang out with you.
Well, yeah.
It's great. And before, you had a beautiful topic I wanted to get to. We wanted to get to.
Yep.
Before that, I was raising awareness for something near and dear, obviously, to your heart, to ours as well. Joey's Song.
Yep. So we have a charity. We put on concerts every year. We raise money to fight epilepsy in memory of my son, and we bring in Rock and Roll Hall of Famers and Grammy winners to do just that.
And again, I say this all the time, but it's true. The Rolodex is amazing. He's got all the bands that I grew up listening to.
Yep.
I never thought I'd be able to get to talk to a Butch Vig or anything about it, and then turns out music is so impactful in your life. And when I hear people, I know a couple people where they're like, well, I don't listen to music.
Right.
I don't like music.
Right.
I don't go to concerts.
Yeah. Right.
What?
Right.
Isn't that?
Yeah.
I don't know.
There's a special wing in the award for those kind of people somewhere because music is such it ties us to the external world. I don't want to get real metaphysical here, but
I would love to get metaphysical with you.
As Olivia Newton-John said, right?
I thought that was just physical.
Yeah. But, it ties us to moments, girlfriends and ups and downs and all that. And if you can't relate to that, then you need some help.
that impressionable stage, does everyone go through a Beatles phase?
Whether it's the Beatles or something, you go through a phase. Like I said, I think that melds you to music. And there's some connective tissue here.
There's for me, I'll buy some albums, and it's got to be an album that you can listen to start to finish without skipping a song.
Right.
And they always go back to I'd probably say around when I was 8 to 10, that range, and then into and you're going through a lot of changes emotionally in your mind, and your frontal lobe is forming.
Yep.
But there's moments that you associate with songs, and you're just like Smashing Pumpkins 1979. That reminds me of a summer, of a summer of a first love, and this. There's all of these special little things. Was Butch Vig involved in?
I can't remember which albums or a couple of Billy's albums. But the thing too about you were talking about buying albums, you listen to front bands used to just fret over sequencing. What song? Now you don't worry about sequencing because people just skip and play and all that. But you used to pace an album and what starts side 2, and there was all this stuff that went into it, and now people are, pretend I'm not a boomer, dropping songs left and right.
I love an album when one song, like you said, bleeds into the next, and it's just,
then you pace a record just like you do a concert, right? You start high, and then you mellow out, and then you finish big. And people would do that, and now it's just the idea of an album, a conceptual album, and I'm not talking about a concept album, but an album that flows from front to back is just, with our digital world, not a thing anymore.
No, you're not talking about The Wall or something.
That's
just like you said, like a live performance, a live show, because you go ups, the downs, and then I love. My favorite part of the concert is when you're ramping up, or sometimes they just start with a big heavy one right away,
right,
and then quarter of the way, maybe a little more through it, you get that little lull of the slow, and
everybody goes to the bathroom,
and right at the point where maybe they're trying out some new music,
that's right, something off the new record, and everybody gets up.
And then right as you think you're like, what's going on here? Then it just ramps back up, and you're just in again.
Hit after hit after hit. Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
It's the ebbs and the flows. It's the ride, man.
Yep, and that's what a good show is.
It's the trip of it. So
there you go. Wow, nice.
Mike, we do have scoreboards, set lists.
Yep.
We have music heroes. We have sports heroes.
Yep.
And you said you had one that were going to maybe blow my mind. I said the same to you. Do you want to go music first or you want to go sports first?
We'll flip a coin. Let's do sports first.
You got it, man.
Those mind blowers out of the way.
So, Mike, for me, I'll give you this. Because you had messaged me, and it was about, it's like, are there any Cubs on your list?
Yep.
Cubs are my most loathed team.
Yep.
And when Craig Counsell went to the Chicago Cubs, I wanted him like ancient Egyptian pharaohs did, stricken from everything. I don't want anything to do with it. But I do have, and this is going to ruffle some little feathers.
I'm ready.
here.
I'm sitting down.
It's two guys in one. Now, obviously, there's Brewers I love, but when I was an impressionable kid, when it didn't come to music, there was a year, and keep in mind I'm a little younger than you.
Just a smidge.
The Millennial and the Boomer.
Yep.
There, 1998, there was a thing called the Major League Baseball Home Run Race.
Yeah. Oh, no.
I love two guys.
Oh, no.
Mark McGwire was one of them, and Sammy Sosa was the other. Because I loved the home run race.
Yeah.
I couldn't help but watch. They would cut into programming just to show you.
Absolutely.
I was like, I ended up getting a Mark McGwire shirt.
Yeah.
But Sammy Sosa, I was just infatuated with too because I love seeing them just go out there and bash home runs.
Yeah.
It's one of my childhood, like looking up to him, like, man, look at that.
Yeah,
because he got all the attention.
Well, and he had all the little mannerisms, the little hop after he hit it. You know, I mean, Sammy had, and the country was fixated on it, and it helped that it was Cubs and Cardinals too. Right?
Yes,
you know, it's like Red Sox, Yankees, or Cowboys, Redskins, or Commanders. Sorry,
but here's the thing, though. Eventually, heroes become a villain.
Very quickly.
Yeah. And Sammy Sosa, I mean, you're a Cubs guy. What's your stance on Sammy Sosa?
It's time to welcome him back.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. You know, I mean, you got to pay the penalty, but the penalty, there's no such thing as there shouldn't be such thing as a life sentence. And they gave Sammy a life sentence. And part of it had to do with the rickets and all that. But anybody that believes that only the guys that were caught were the ones, I mean, doing steroids and all that. I mean, you know, so right, and especially the pitchers and everybody was doing it. So there you go, Canseco.
There's my Jose Canseco
sign. exactly. Former Madison Muskie.
Who's coming back to the Mallards this year?
Is he? Is he doing it?
Oh, he
that's
is.
Great. So Sammy is more ostracized by Cubs fans because of the way he ended it and left the dugout. There's all that left the dugout early and at the end of the season. More than he was just doing what everybody else was doing. Now I don't. It should have an asterisk in the record book and all that. I agree with that.
I'm fine with that. I mean, but put it in. We're not dumb.
Yeah, we're able to read.
And baseball loves history. That's part of your history, whether you like it or not.
So and it was an exhilarating time. It was an up time for the Cubs, and so I got no problem with Sammy. And like I said, it's time to welcome him back.
Yeah. What's one of your sports heroes?
So I'm a few generations in front of you, and so I was a slow left-handed first baseman growing up, and my hero was the Boomer, George Scott.
Oh,
so I wore number 5 in high school because Boomer wore 5, and George Scott was always hitting taters. That's what he called home runs. And I loved everything about him. He was a Gold Glove first baseman, and so he would. While there are plenty of Cubs I would point to as heroes, that was my guy growing up was George Scott, the Boomer,
and a guy that just kind of did it right? Like,
and he was not. Yeah, he had his mannerisms and everything. He wasn't the classic hero, but he just was on those Brewers teams in the 70s that weren't quite good.
That's funny, man.
Yeah, he was my guy, and I wore 5 through. I even wore 5 at Cubs camp because of the Boomer.
Not because when he was on the Red Sox, because of the Milwaukee Brewers.
Yeah, because you got to remember those early 70s teams. I had the Brewers thing. I can say we about the Brewers.
Open pass here.
Yeah, you know what? That's okay. It's kind of a they-them thing with the Brewers. Yeah. They were not very good, right? We had there were a few good players on that team, but Boomer was like at least for me, was the big star on that team. And I loved him. So,
all right, Mike, I have another one for you.
Yep.
This could, again, sometimes I look at things, there's two guys that kind of had the same trajectory, but differently.
Okay.
And they both play for the Green Bay Packers or played for the Green Bay Packers, and both were quarterbacks. Growing up for me, there's a cardboard cutout right behind you right there. Yep. There's one of me and there's one of Brett Lorenzo Favre.
I can't, which one is, oh yeah, I can see the difference.
Brett Favre, now keep in mind, as Brett Favre became the Packers quarterback, I was just a wee little lad. My whole childhood and even into high school was Brett Favre.
Yep.
I get it. The player, Brett Favre.
Yes.
Now, I wouldn't be sitting there with Crocs on and taking pictures that were to women that weren't my wife.
Yeah.
In fact, I don't even own a pair of Crocs. But also, I wouldn't be defrauding states
charities
of money
and taking pictures.
Can you differentiate like the artist from the art, or the man from the game?
I heard somebody say one time, once you get to the point where you realize what you're really cheering for is the laundry, not the people in it.
Yeah.
Right? I'm a Packer. I mean, and Reggie said a few things in front of the state legislature that probably weren't the right things to say. And if you do that, if you judge especially your sports heroes by who they are outside of it. Now, if somebody's a truly awful person, that's one thing. But if they're just, if they step on it from time to time. So,
if they're going out there like an Aaron Hernandez and then you're like,
maybe that's one that we
should. But for Favre, for me,
absolutely,
it was just the style of play, how he did it, to put your body out there every game, to be the Iron Man, and just to wear your heart on your sleeve on the field. I'm not going to go buy a bunch of land in Mississippi and drive a four-wheeler around looking like, I'm not going to emulate his life, but I love seeing what he did on the football field.
And as soon as you separate somebody's ability to do amazing things athletically from who they are as a person, sports fan, it becomes a lot easier.
And then on my flip side, I love Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
Aaron that's my guy.
And
I love Rodgers.
And that kills me that he went cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Because he was the greatest quarterback I ever saw.
See, I think a lot of people, I think Aaron Rodgers is a little misunderstood than anything.
Yeah.
I think he's misunderstood. There's a narrative that's painted that a lot of people, I don't want to say fall for, but they just don't agree with it, but they don't want to see his side. Like, for instance, the Darkness Retreat.
Yeah.
It's like, this guy's... He's cuckoo for he's a loony bin.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, well, he's talking about it's good for his mental health.
Yeah.
And we're all about mental health, so he does this for mental health. Like, he's a loser hippie. Stuff like that.
I don't have a problem with that stuff. Really, it boils down to me when he was playing the word games with the vaccinated and protected or whatever.
He should just come out and said it instead of being,
Right. That's because up until then, his early years, and so... As you can see, for people watching, I'm a long-haired liberal hippie. And he said all the right things. If there would be a social issue, he me landed on the left side of everything.
Yeah.
It was great. That's the part that got me, was that he seemed to kind of flip on some other stuff. And that's what killed me. But again, on the field, nobody threw a better ball. You can argue Brady and you can argue Montana as the greatest quarterback, and the only one who was close to thrower of the ball was Marino, that could throw a ball like Rodgers could.
Yeah.
But I mean, dude could put it in that once consistently, 30 yards down the field in the one spot where only Jennings could catch it or Jordy could catch it. So nobody was a better thrower of the ball than him.
And I'm not going to take family advice from Aaron Rodgers.
No, and certainly let your wife know you're not going to take any marriage advice from him.
Well, I don't even know if he has a wife or not for real. But
who knows? He might have three of them.
Mike, what do you got? Any other ones for?
So for me, I grew up in. Let's talk Packers for a second.
Yeah.
I grew up in the 70s, were my Packers time, and for those of us of a certain age. When the Packers had basically a running game because we had no quarterbacks back in the early 70s. And do you remember John Brockington and MacArthur Lane when we got 42 and 36 together? That was the most glorious thing because we had no quarterback and we had Brockington, who was just a beast. And then MacArthur Lane came from the St. Louis Cardinals. For you kids, look that up. There used to be a St. Louis Cardinals. And we had kind of this thunder and lightning thing. And that was just, and I think we won a division title. And you got to remember, they still had Lombardi looking over their shoulder, those teams. And the Packers became relevant for the first time in my conscious life. I realized they were winning Super Bowls.
Oh, that must have been.
And we got, again, there's going to be a lot of boomer Packer fans that remember when we got MacArthur Lane, it was like, because all we did the season before was Brockington left, Brockington right, Brockington. And now all of a sudden you had this power back and MacArthur Lane, and it was just great. The last one I'll throw in there is I've been very fortunate. I met a lot of the Lombardi Packers.
That's great.
In the years. Willie Wood, good old number 24, was the nicest man I've ever met. And go back, again, for you kids, find the YouTube and go look up Willie Wood and the plays he would make as a defensive back. Just amazing. So, and there was just something that you can still feel today, but very hometowny about the Packers in those days, right? You know, there was this, they would be walking around Green Bay, and you'd see them at the Piggly Wiggly and all that other stuff.
You know, for the millennial I am and the boomer that you are, is it weird to hear me saying, here's my heroes, they're Super Bowl winners.
Yeah.
And then your guys are like, we are in the dark ages of Packers football.
Yeah, I went through Lindy Infante and Dan Devine and Forrest Gregg and Bart Starr. Oh yeah.
I went through the last little touch of Magic Man, then it was, and that was even before I even know what was going on, to Brett Favre and then Aaron Rodgers, and now we'll see what Jordan Love does.
Yeah. My old friends and I sit there and go, you kids have no idea what suffering is. You have no idea.
I was waiting for that. Yeah. All right, let's take a little break here.
Yep.
Mike, do you want to do the music side?
We'll do some music side. I got to probe your brain here.
Yeah, Mike from Joey Song in. Check if people want to get a hold of Joey Song, how can they do so, my man?
Yep, joeysong.org and or all the socials, Joey Song.
Love it. We'll come right back. And we have the grilled cheese champion in the house, too.
It smells good.
You want to say hello over there? Hey, what's going on, guys? What are you doing? What are you doing right now? Turn it on and rip the knob off here, Mike.
No, I'm telling you, dude.
Off of Siamese Dream, Geek USA, Smashing Pumpkins. Mike from Joey Song joining us right now. So, Mike, we did the Sports Heroes. And real quick, we wanted to get a couple of bucks out there, and then we'll get the music. Because we don't want to get about the Bucks.
Yep.
And I almost said Ryan Braun for the Brewers, but
there might have been a fist fight there.
The notorious Cub killer. No, but I did want to say I had a huge infatuation with a Vin Baker growing up as a kid. I wrote him a letter.
Wow.
Yeah, I asked him 3 questions. What's it feel like to dunk? What's your middle name? And what's your mother's name?
No. Well, we could spend an hour on those 3 questions and why those were the ones you chose.
He did not write back.
I would guess not. He wrote back, yes, Marion and Marion.
What's your mother's name?
Same as my middle name, pal.
So Vin Baker, I love me some Ray Allen too for the Bucks. Yep. And that was it. And how about yourself for the Deer?
So again, for me, it was Kareem. I mean, Lou Alcindor days, right?
Yep.
And when he left. Talk about a heartbroken kid, right? Because we'd won that championship. They had the Big O in there and Bobby Dandridge and all these amazing guys. And when and the fact that as he was walking out the door, it was the little slam that Milwaukee isn't culturally fulfilling for him. All is forgiven because Kareem has become an amazing ambassador for the game and civil rights and everything since then. But when because that was the age I didn't understand that people could leave. Right, Packers were there for life.
And you don't understand how the world works either when it comes to what he was talking about.
How could you not love our state?
I know, right?
But the kid grew up in New York, and he is very worldly and a jazz guy. But a
great actor, movie Airplane.
Roger. That killed me when Kareem left. It just killed me.
Yeah, Mike from Joey Song hanging out here, scoreboards and set lists. Mike, when it comes to we love our music, man.
Yep.
I've been a music guy out the womb. So I remember I would listen to WOLX, Good Times, Great Oldies. So it was the only station that would come in when I was fishing down in Governor Dodge. And it was like Tommy James and the Shondells and Frankie Valli and the Four Seasons. And then I was infatuated with live music, too.
Yep.
So I know you. How'd you first get into it? My mom, it would be me and my mom. We were just on our own for a while when I was younger. And she would just be cranking the tunes. It'd be like Fleetwood Mac. Yep. It would be, just kind of mom rock, single mom rock.
Yeah.
And then I took to it,
Yeah.
That's how I first got into it. And then all of a sudden, at first I was like, well, I don't, you get into your kind of punky middle school years, like, well, I don't like country. It's not cool. Or I don't like that. Yeah. Then once you realize you get a little older, good music is just good music.
Yeah. Well, you might hate country, but Willie Nelson makes good music.
Yeah. Right. Good music is just good music.
Yes. Agreed.
Doesn't matter what genre it is.
Yeah. Agree completely. Yeah. Yeah. And for me, it was, believe it or not, I would pretend I was this when I was young, right? In my bedroom with the two record players.
Same.
Yeah, so that was, and do the intro.
Yeah.
Back in the day when if you were a music DJ, you talked over, they'd have like
the ramp.
Right.
Talk over the ramp.
And on the 45s, it would say how much time, like 32 seconds on it, and you'd practice that so you'd get your pattern just right, just as the vocals came. Yeah. So
we have that right here. And it's not on an album, but it's digital now. I can show it to you. No, but when I play my songs off YouTube, I'm all about hitting. It's called hitting the post.
Yeah.
Somebody call an ambulance, you just hit the post. That's right when you stop talking, the singer starts singing.
And that's exactly what it is. So I was always into it, and then for me, I really got into it in college because I was offered a job at Church Key and Headliners, and what better
Headliners.
What better job than to DJ in a club when you're in college? I mean, I was already into music at the time. It wasn't like there was an awakening, but that solidified it, and then I made all these friends that have turned into rock stars and all that other stuff. And it's just, but what we were talking about earlier, it's such a connector to life, and it's a memory bank, and it's all those things. And again, like you were saying, people that say, I just kind of listen to music, well, then you're missing out a big part of being a human being on this planet.
I don't understand just one song can't connect with you with a moment that happened in your life.
Good or bad.
Like if it's the bridge or the chorus or just like a floaty kind of intro coming in and how it just doesn't bring up memories of where you were when that happened. Or
even a band that you feel like represents you in their style and both physical. Yeah,
exactly.
You're missing something. So what made me think of this is last week we were talking about the Hall of Fame. Mm-hmm. We talked about Wu-Tang Clan, and you were ripping off lyrics out of nowhere.
I love the Wu.
Yeah. What are your growing up now, not adulthood, but growing up, what are your musical signposts? I mean, what are the bands that were it for you growing up?
So there's a moment for me where I remember vividly. I was at Walmart because that's the only thing Dodgeville had. And I remember cruising on in, and I heard a song on the station. I think it was 101.5, I want to say. And it was Dream On by Aerosmith.
Oh, my goodness.
And I'm like, this.
So what year would this have been?
It's probably 90.
Okay, so it's a 20-year-old song by then. 25-year-old song by then.
Correct.
Okay.
And I remember going to Walmart, and then I saw it was the red album with the wheel on it, the greatest hits. Yeah. And I had a little allowance saved up. I was a young lad. Yeah. And I said, Mom, can I get this? And she goes, hey, you want Aerosmith? And yeah. And then it was Last Child that hooked me in.
Yep, off of Rocks.
So is it and once I heard that riff, and then I started hearing more guitarists. Then I heard like ZZ Top.
Billy.
And then I heard a little, I remember hearing Pink Floyd. And it had to do with my brothers, too. My brothers were a little older than me. And my favorite thing then when I ever heard when they knew I finally was, because you like music, but when you get into music, my oldest brother, he was like, check this out. It was Alice in Chains' Dirt. There's something about Lane Staley. Yeah. And then it was Nirvana. Yeah. So it Smells Like Teen Spirit.
Right.
And then the one that I really got into, Soundgarden, Bad Motorfinger. Yeah. That is Chris Cornell to me is all-time rock voice. Yeah. That's what I fell in love with the most, was the Seattle grunge scene.
Yeah.
I was huge Seattle grunge scene. And also was the time when I was really getting, your chemistry in your brain's changing, you're getting maybe a little, and I remember sitting at home listening to Down in a Hole, being like, "Why does my life suck, man?" Or Nutshell by Alice in Chains. Yeah. And then you got to realize, like, dude, you're like a 12-year-old kid. Right. Life's not too bad.
Dinner's on the table every night, roof over your head, your clothes are clean.
It was the classic rock, it was grunge. Jimmy Page got me into playing guitar, listening to Led Zeppelin, and then it's honestly it was the tasty guitar riffs.
Yeah, so you really are a 70s kid, despite your age, because I mean, Aerosmith is one of my signposts. As you know, I grew up that music in the 70s, and for me it was the high school years is when. Because when you're in high school, then also all the kids from all the other, well, maybe it wasn't in Dodgeville, but all the elementary schools kind of come together, and all of a sudden you're meeting all these new kids.
Yeah, it wasn't in Dodgeville.
Yeah, well, it was in the huge metropolis of Sun Prairie. All these people come together, and other musical tastes come in, right? Mm-hmm. You know, it's not quite the United Nation, but it feels that way when you're in high school. And so it was those 70s, guitar bands, Aerosmith, Queen.
There's just something about the sound, though. Yeah. Because if you listen to music now, it sounds too. It's like overproduced. Yeah. Like it's when it's mastered. It's just like a wall of sound. Yeah. When you go and listen to the vinyl or the stuff that was done analog, right? You can feel the warmth, the nuances.
You can hear the separation. You can hear the guitar. You can hear the drums. You can go, oh, that was kind of cool what he did there on the whatever it might be.
It's like you look at a piece of thread and they all kind of intertwine. Yep. That's what it does. Yeah. And now you listen to music and it's just like a friggin' plastic cord that's like all melted together.
And you're right on. The difference is the process it takes now to do it. The other thing that's gone away for me, and now I do get to be the old man yelling at clouds.
I feel like I am too.
Yeah, I was gonna have a conversation with you when we went off the air, son. You're a little too old. You're a little too young to be doing this. There's no bands anymore. It's all collabs, as the kids say, right? Yeah. It's all so and so featuring so and so, and there's a difference when. Let's keep with the Aerosmith stuff, right? When a band is the ones that are writing, producing, arranging, and doing all that stuff. And so you follow, Aerosmith is a perfect example. First 3 albums are as great as any band's first 3 albums. And then the good old rock and roll drugs kicked in, and they put out some real stinkers, right?
I think cocaine changed a lot of things.
It does a lot of stuff. I don't know. There's an anecdote. I don't know if it's true or not, but after they got sober, Tyler and Joe Perry were sitting somewhere, and a song came on. And Steven Tyler said, "This is great. We should cover it." And Perry looked at him and said, "You dumb. That's us." I've heard that anecdote 1,000 times. But that's the point: is when you have bands of human beings that you follow, and you look forward to their new record, and there's all that stuff. How it was produced. They usually wrote 99% of it. Yeah. It's a different level of fandom than
we should cover it.
We should, and Perry just looked. I don't know if it's true or not, but I've heard it 100 times because that's how out of it they were. So that's really interesting. I really find it interesting, Ebo, that it's still that 70s guitar stuff that it's your North Star.
What sounds like that?
Nothing anymore.
And how did bands? Now, I know that rock and roll is coming out of a different kind of, Elvis Presley kind of the king of rock and roll, yada, yada. But what happened from the 60s into the 70s? I think it's LSD, honestly. And then
Lysergic had something to do with it.
I don't know how you have that much of, bands aren't harmonizing anymore with a bunch of singers. Right. They're not doing these guitar riffs. It's how can we get a 4/4 poppy radio single that will sell? And it's all mathematics and formula. Yeah. Well, it's simple mathematics. It's 2 + 2 = 4.
Yeah. I think it goes back to the people that are producing the music, right? No offense to name all the stars that are headlining Coachella. None of them spent 16 years playing the clubs, honing their sound like, Olivia Rodrigo, who I'm sure is a fine human being, didn't spend 3 years in Hamburg like the Beatles did.
No.
Carly B didn't spend 8 years playing the clubs in Boston like Aerosmith did, honing your sound and figuring out what works and what didn't. So that's part of it. And it's not making it better or worse. It's just making it different.
Is it just more commercialized because we get more access to it? I don't even know. You look at the music, there's always a disruptor.
Right. Always.
Every decade there's a disruptor, then the sound changes. I don't think there's been a disruptor since not from the sound, but the delivery. Digital delivery is the disruptor that you're talking about. It changed how you produce and how you deliver music. Now you just got to pop a single out there. And the other part of it is the demise of music video, in my humble opinion, as a guy who spent way too many times coming home from the bars, watching the Stray Cats video for the 45th time. That is another way that you could artistically literally paint a picture of the music, right? And so it's how you consume it now, too, right? Now we can listen to music anytime we want. In the old days, you put the CD in, you put the record player on, you did all that stuff. So it was a direct act of consuming music. Now you kind of do, but you're doing five other things. It's like disposable, but you don't ever even. I don't even know if disposable is the right word.
Yeah,
it's just here and then it's gone.
It's ephemeral. But that's the disruptor, I think, that you're talking about. That's come along. It's how we consume and how it's delivered.
It's not a good disruptor, though. I'm looking at music. You had, and I guess we're running out of time here, Mike. I could rant about this forever.
Well, we will next week too.
Look, you got like Frankie Valli and the Force, that kind of music, right?
Right.
And then all of a sudden you have like a little bit of a more psychedelic-y, harder rock, and then that turns into you get hair metal, and then hair metal turns, and then grunge comes along,
and the new wave, and
then there's the new wave, then there's grunge, and then there's new metal, which is then now you have this even heavier rock, but I don't even know what the mainstream thing is now. Is it all sounds the same? Yeah, it's all 4/4 beat. It's pop. Maybe we add twang for country in our voice, or maybe we mumble over a beat because it's mumble rap. No, there is nothing that is seemingly revolutionizing music as it has through each and every decade. Have we run out of things?
No, I'm just to be.
Or am I getting old?
Well, you're that. But just to be the president of the Department of Redundancy Department here, it comes back to. The artists aren't creating the songs from the ground up like they used to.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Right, and so it doesn't. Songs are brought to artists. I mean, I'm sure on all the records it says that they wrote the songs. It's like Elvis. Elvis didn't write any of that, but he gets a writer's credit because you wanted your song to be big. The music doesn't reflect the artist like it did in the day. And there's an authenticity to it. And again, there's nothing wrong with wanting your music to be disposable. There's nothing wrong with that, but it's a different experience, and it's different than. And again, you're way too young to be feeling this way. We really need to get you into some counseling, son. But I hate to say it, but you're right. Yeah. I'm going to type an email in all caps, too.
The boomer email coming away. Mike, we could do this. I mean, that's why we started doing this every Friday. Mike, thanks so much, man. It's always a pleasure.
Always, Ebo. And you guys, the grilled cheese. Unbelievable.
I can't wait for the Brewers to be ahead of the Cubs next time we meet, all right?
You will really be. Hey, thanks for sticking around all the way to the end of the podcast. A quick reminder, if you can give us a follow or subscribe on your favorite podcast provider and write a short review, it will really help us out. If you can head over to YouTube and subscribe to our channel over there, that's another big help. These simple acts make it easier for others to find us. And of course, head over to joeysong.org to join our community and stay up to date on all the news. Thanks, and we'll talk again real soon.
Learn more about Joey Song by visiting joeysong.org. The theme music was composed by Sam Gamal, and Joey Song is a federally registered 501c3 charity. Thanks for listening.